everyone, and welcome back to my channel, From City to Country. I'm Kizzy, and we are here visiting a farm called Advent Farm in the UK. Advent Farms is a Christian social enterprise focused on whole person development run by an inspiring couple, Earl and Jackie. Their aim is to create a center of true education using soil as the foundation, which will ultimately enable and equip others to grow harmoniously in all areas of life. It is their hope to teach in simple, rounded, and practical ways the principles of the gospel for both physical and spiritual health. Join us today as Earl and his lovely wife Jackie take us around on a tour of Advent Farms.
Barn is going to be going up.
Oh, this is where the barn will be going.
So all our footings are going to be in here. So
yeah.
Inside. This is like 40 foot wide.
Yeah.
And then we've got like about that thick of hardcore.
Right.
And then obviously we'll be pouring all concrete on top of this. But this is where the barn or the school would be basically.
Yeah.
So obviously eventually all this will be cut down. So as you can see, it's tons to do. But yeah.
Wow.
We should have this up before the end of the year, just a skeleton at least anyway. It's an uphill battle, obviously, you know, we got this in 2018 and there's been all sorts of obstacles that we've had to overcome. But between 2018 and here today at 2022, you've got inflation at like, on its way to 14%, right? Right. So what would have cost you A, B, you know, back then, is you've got to kind of treble that today. So, but, you know, I'm not intimidated by that because even on the barn that I'll show you in a sec, again, you know, quick little testimony, Jackie and I was going to Jamaica last year, June, and the timing wasn't really right. You know, we were trying to do a few different things down here, and so, you know, it wasn't really the right time. So I ended up opting out and turned out to go with her mum in my stead. And that they went on a Wednesday. Friday I sat down on eBay again. eBay, you know, you can, good little marketplace. Went down on eBay and you know, had a little look for barns, and I found a barn on there for sale, and I spoke to the guy and he said, look, we can have a deal, come down to see him Sunday. So when I got down there Sunday, it turns out he's got a portion of land. He's built a house back in the 80s. So he lives there, and he used to raise pigs in the other barns. And he's got planning permission to convert 2 of those barns out of the 3 to homes, to residential homes. And he needs to tear down 1 to create a garden space for one of them. So he's got all the asbestos cement sheeting for the roofs. So he said it's going to cost him like about 20 grand or so to get it taken down. To get rid of the asbestos, I said, well, what if I get rid of it for you? And he said, well, we can have a deal, obviously, if you're willing to get rid of it. So I said, okay.
I bet you had a big smile with it.
Of
course he did. He must be like, wait, what?
So, you know, we're talking about, I said, look, he said, give him 2 grand if I get rid of it. I said, to be honest with you, if you just said like it's going to cost you 20 grand, right, to get rid of it, and I take it down, I'm kind of thinking in my mind that kind of makes us even Stevens. And he's like, well, do you know what? I'm not going to argue over the money. I'll have a deal with that. So ended up getting the thing for, it just cost me the money to get rid of the asbestos, which is about 1,400 quid. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so and that's still, you're looking about 14 grand worth of steel.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Right? So, you know, I'm saying that to say, even though sometimes things seem unachievable, but the Lord's gonna open up the way, even if you don't get the land for free or for cheap, because we paid over the odds for the land, but you'll get materials.
The law says in the UK, says any barn that was built
before
prior to 2013.
So you got automatic rights.
Automatically. So people are, as soon as that legislation came in, land that was costing 30, 40, 50 grand, people are now selling it for 300. And they want cash only. And people are paying it, and it is shocking.
And on top of that, when the pandemic took place now, you had a lot of people that, you know, the whole landscape started to change, people working from home. They took up certain different leisurely pursuits, got involved in the horse thing, so they wanted to grab, and I you know, when I had a estate agent come down here just to kind of revalue the place for us, they were saying to us, anything below like your 12 acres,
Yeah.
the horse people have taken it up.
Yeah.
Anything above, you've got people that's more into agriculture that's taken up. So again, that's pushing everything up, you know.
Yeah.
So
And as soon as you get your borehole stuff in as well, that adds value. And here's the thing as well about renting, man.
Yeah.
We can't do none of that stuff because once you put the borehole in, like you can't exactly take it out on your way out, right?
Yeah.
You're basically putting value into someone else's
That's right.
assets, while rather than invest in your own. So
What I find, sometimes it's not just a case of getting on eBay, on Rightmove or something like that. You actually got to be in the neighbourhood. So, for instance, now we got not the guy next door, but the one after that, an old boy, and he knows everything and everyone. Right? The guy's like in his 70s, and I'm
old
telling you,
boys in it, like
like you know, there's some land that sold over there, and it's like, oh yeah, that was James McMartin. He just pulled that from Alexander such and such the other day. You know, and so it is a lot of times like being in the right place at the right time. You know, so there's definitely spots out there, you know, but it's just being able to you know what I mean, navigate through that process. The thing is, this was on the market for a period of time, right? I spoke to our neighbour, the one who I said he's not short of a pound note, and he's like, you know, he stacked up the figures. I mean, he just bought 100 acres just above there, yeah? I think he paid like 8 grand an acre, so, you know what I mean, it's just under £1 million for it, right? And he said, now you'd have thought he would want to take this because his farm is right there, and that means he'd have had like the whole of this going back. He said, no, he's not interested. Number one, and he used to have his cows grazing on here as well. He said, number one, it gets too wet, right? He's got too much water problems. Obviously, we've resolved that. And he said it just didn't stack up for him. Now, the thing is, a lot of time you'll find the Lord will give us something, right? And it's not going to be the creme de la creme. No. But when it gives it to us, it becomes the, you know what I mean, the cream of the crop. And that's what I'm saying. You've got to look at certain things sometimes as, okay, you'll see it and it looks like a dump. But if you can see beyond that dump,
it's the vision.
You know what I mean? You understand?
If they're not the vision, then it is not for you, innit?
Yeah, you understand? Because, you know, there's a shed load of things you've got to do here. Like, even it's every year we've had to kind of, you know, almost like chase our tails because we've had our neighbour come over, plough it over, then not rotivate it, power harrow it, and now we're finally getting the permanent beds in place that we're not going to have them come over anymore to do that. All the beds, apart from, I think we've got 4 blocks left to do, but you'll see as we walk through there now, everything's becoming like starting to fall into place, you know. So that pipe that we saw way down there, that culvert, that originally ran all the way through, but we've tapped it off, right? And we've got this ditch here now, because what we found is that it had little breakages here and there, and it was just letting out water through the rainy season. And around the whole of this, you've got, again, those clay pipes that are running. So we dug a ditch all the way around there, and you've got this natural ditch that comes along here as well where the tree line is. So any water that's coming in from any like higher points, it just gets caught in the ditches and then eventually makes its way around. And so that only water that comes into there now is what comes from the heavens, you know. So yeah,
it's on a slope as well, so you're still right in
we've got a little graduate, that's right. So it's completely different to how it's been for the past couple of years. So we've just been like you can see here, this is what it is. So this is what's been in the land all over the place, these are the pipes here, right?
Oh wow.
So, and they've been our Achilles heel really up until the other year. So, and so much of them was like, you know, you had some kind of brick ones. If I can get this one out, I might not be able to get this size quite tough in there, but you can pretty much see that it's blocked up anyway. So water would still find its way a little bit, and it would come out through little holes, by and by, and it would just end up gathering up and becoming, you know, just start flooding out a little bit. So we just had to, kind of create a little moat around the place. We're just making this part wider because we noticed when we've got certain like machinery coming in, the road was just a little bit narrow. So here, eventually, what we're going to do, this is all getting, we've just got this turned over the other day. Jackie's planting like all the laurels and different trees.
Oh, lovely.
And then we want to have like, what we've got like that, like the little container. We want to have one there and convert it into like a farm shop. So then when the people come in, you know, we can sit down and hopefully with the farm shop, you'll have your health books, you'll have your different bits and pieces. You know, have Joy down with Sweet Joy Cooks, cooking some nice food, you know.
Set up
some
shop.
fritters and everything's there. So the community be like, what's this? Wow. You know, and be able to do little health days and so on and so forth. So a long way to go, but that's part of the plan anyhow.
Wow.
So the other day, what we had to do, because everything was literally just getting way on top, all of this was filled with dockweeds on both sides. So we just ended up getting an excavator. Probably a bit of a mad way to do it, but we just ripped them all out, gathered them up, and now we're starting to burn some. And once it's really burnt down, then we can just broadcast the remaining soil. Yeah, we'll have seeds, but we've got a lot of ryegrass, perennial ryegrass. And ryegrass is really kind of competitive, so it will really drown out those weeds. And you'll see what we've done just along there in the middle path. We put in ryegrass there. So along here, Jack is going to have, I think it's 5 rows of blueberries.
Wow.
And then when you get to past where the second black plastic is or tops, it would be goji berries, and then we've got fruit trees going to be coming down on the other side, coming down there. So again, it's just a matter of getting some more hands onto deck, Joy. You know.
Yep.
We're still waiting, Joy.
So what do you sell on Advent Farm?
Okay, so currently what we do, we've got the callaloo going. We've got the cucumbers, courgettes, patty pans. Patty pans is like part of the squash family. We've got rainbow chard, curly kale, cavolo nero, or, you know, dinosaur kale.
Oh yeah.
And what else? We've got the pumpkins coming. They should be ready in the next probably 6 weeks. Basil, fresh basil, chives in front of us. And beetroot. The beetroots have got a little bit big now. Still really nice, but they're kind of big. So we're doing a little bit of a discount on our beets, you know, king size beets for £1.50 a bunch.
Okay, absolutely. All right. Sticking the plug in.
Brilliant, absolutely still, you know, absolutely still. In fact, I had one roasted the other day and it was tremendously juicy. It's not woody at all. We want to incorporate a lot more medicinal plants and medicinal herbs as well, but yeah, we're still kind of like finding our way as to, because you see, obviously it's trying to kind of find that sweet spot, and as far as it goes with being able to produce food that we can sell, that we can then take and reinvest into the project, whilst at the same time growing that food that can be utilized in that medical missionary capacity. So just, you know, kind of
like a dual
merge the two. That's right. Here we've got all our nice chives. So we cut these, well, we haven't cut them on a weekly basis, but some that we cut, they spring up really quickly. So all of these, eventually over the next couple of weeks, all these pathways will be covered with cardboard and wood chip, which will obviously take away some of the added work in regards to cleaning out the pathways with the weeds. Do you get
free wood chips?
We do, but it's not a consistent supply. So just there now, we had a lorry load of wood chip come down. Cost us 50 quid just to basically the guys for him to cover his fuel. But it was a good amount. I mean, you're probably looking at about, I don't know, 30 odd ton bags worth of chip there. So, and then we've got some cow manure from the farmer next door, 50 quid a load. Again, when we get time and we start to do our compost piles, where there's a name for the type of compost, and I can't remember. It's a type of procedure. Basically, it turns it around within a couple of weeks. So we'll be using that, and the way we'll do it, that will kill out any pathogens, etc., and anything they might have used in the feeding of the cows. So we've got that there. Then this is the compost I was telling you about earlier. When we put this on the beds, it that looks necessarily it's good soil amendment, but it's not necessarily got, you know, any nutritional value as such. But one of the good things about it as well is that we get no slug pressure when we put these on our beds. What kind of soil is this? This is just like a compost from like from a company that would collect all the council's waste into the green waste, and then they just run it through their system at a certain temperature, and people's cleaning out their gardens or whatever the case may be, and you know.
Wow.
So yeah, we usually get about 40 yards of that a year. We probably need about 2 loads of that, really. Bit pricey, it's about 800 a load. So.
And that's for the year.
Well, if we actually set that out with the, like, to get your 5 inches, we probably wouldn't need that again for a couple of years. Well,
Right.
you know, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that over there, we've got organic chicken manure, like the dried pellets.
Right.
£320 for a ton bag last year. This year we ordered it, and then he said, right, it's £630, so literally doubled in price. Yeah, so everything's just gone up, you know. Yeah, it's
Brother
just,
Earl,
so
you need some chickens.
we need some chickens, you know, innit? That's right. That's right. We need some chickens, definitely. We get heavily into like the compost teas and so on and so forth, and even like what you can do with comfrey and different and nettle, etc. Using what you got locally, because obviously we're going to come to a point where you can't buy inputs.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do then? We can't wait until we reach that stage
and then
start to learn these things, start to figure it out. We've got to figure it out now.
Yeah.
So we really kind of want to wean ourselves off of these external inputs and start working with what we've got here, and even possibly, you know, actually cultivating the likes of comfrey and things like that. So we've got an abundance to then, you know, use and create compost.
Yeah.
As you can see, we've got like callaloo dotted all about these big plants here. So what happened there, we was growing callaloo in probably where these 4 sections are the other year, and they just got away from us. When I did harvest them out, a lot of the seeds just sprinkled everywhere. So now we kind of get callaloo like grown any and everywhere around the place.
Got volunteer callaloo.
It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. We've got to thin out our chard bed.
Yeah.
A lot of it. I mean, we cleaned it out the other week, and we probably had about 30% in seed, which was unusual. But because of the dry weather, I believe it's just gone that way. Yeah. So the way we've got it set up, basically, we've got like this is about a 14-foot pathway that will run through the centre. Yeah. And then every block is 9 beds. Right. Again, every bed is 30 foot by 30 inches, and then you've got an 18-foot pathway, 18-inch pathway in between each bed. Right. And then 7-foot pathway in between each block. Right. So we've just kind of like, there's no real kind of jazzy logic behind it. It was just trying to work out how much blocks we can fit within this area, and have space enough to where we can kind of like 2 people can go up and down with your wheelbarrow and just things like that. Do you know what I mean? So we're still deliberating whether to put our pipe work right, and bury it actually in the ground, and have it come out. And I'm not too sure if I'm gonna do that or not. If we don't bury it in the ground, I will just like kind of have it slide it in and then covered with wood chip at the end. Yeah. Because all our pathways are going to be covered with wood chip. Yeah. And just around the beds. And so what we're going to be doing this week, I'm just going to run the rotavator up and down the pathways just to kind of get a more level surface. Right. And then we'll end up, I've got a grass seeder and a roller. Yeah. And we'll just put down the rye grass seed, and then that will give us all of our pathways, apart from the actual ones that's inside the bed zone or the block zone. We'll have nice grass, you know, like what we've got in front of us. Yeah, I can sleep here. You know. So you got I think you got clove in there. You got a few different type of like wildflowers in there as well. Eventually, all the pathways will have a beautiful, nice lawn in there. We'll be able to just run up and down on the ride on mower, and the place will look a lot more, you know, in shape. I see it. I see the vision. Yeah, that's it. This is where we just pulled out our garlic, so we're just gonna turn these beds over. Get something else in there. We want to probably put like maybe some carrots if we can get them in this week for winter. Here's our basil. Again, a lot of it's gone to seed. Yeah. But you know, as you cut it down, it's still growing back nice. Oh, the bees love this. Yeah, yeah. And it's quite a strong smell. Yeah. Yeah. Basil. Oh, I love the smell. Oh, guys, I wish I could send you smell vision, but you have to be here.
courgettes and patty pans.
Yeah, so here's your patty pans.
Whoa!
Yeah, they've probably got.
Those are huge!
Oh, listen, you ain't said nothing. Listen.
They're huge! Mine was like, what size? Mine was like about this size.
We have bigger ones.
Mine turned out the
They say to pick them when they're nice and young, right?
Yeah.
But I've done a few experiments, and even though we've let them go to that big,
yeah.
man, when you cook them up, they're still really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. When you cut it now and you slice it that way, yeah. And then you get like your flour, and you season up your flour,
yeah.
and you make your little batter and you fry that up, or you put that in the oven, you know, or as Joy said, you make your fritters with it,
yeah,
you know, and you can make balance, make a nice little cake with it, make the cake then with it, courgette cake, you know. So even though we let some of them go to marrow, yeah, they're really nice. Get the basket full up in a little while.
Guys, look at the size.
This
is huge.
The carrots so here
pumpkin.
we've got two different varieties, although they could get a bit mixed up. So this is Crown Prince. Yeah.
Wow! Crown
These are
Prince.
massive round.
Yeah. Well, I did give them quite a bit of space this year. Usually I kind of bunch them up quite closely, but this year I gave them like about a 4 foot away, which has definitely shown up. So
they perform better with
when you give them a good
spaces.
bit of space, because they do compete. This one, like what we wanted to aim to do, hence the reason for these metal poles, is to actually run them on vines and be able to control it a lot more. Because what you want when you're growing your pumpkins, you want to not allow the plant to go beyond like 2 vines really. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because then it starts to really put too much, into several different leaves and stems, and
that's true.
Do you know what I mean? So if you can kind of control it to like maybe 3 pumpkins a plant at the most, you'll really get 3 really good pumpkins.
Yeah.
So these ones here, you can see the stems almost dried out anyway. So I'll probably. Yeah, but these are a little bit smaller, but they're really nice. And again, to cut them, and how dry they are, you literally have to get a knife in and just like really kind of put some elbow grease into it to cut it. They're really dry. I'm not too sure if I would kind of dedicate this amount of space to pumpkins again though, because they're definitely good sellers. Yeah. But they take up a lot of space for what they're going to give you back in return.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like the seeds or just the actual whole pumpkin?
The whole thing really, because if you imagine like, okay, you're going to get 1 pumpkin in that space there, yeah? If that was, I don't know, some kind of cut and come again, or if that was some kind of, do you get what I'm saying? So again, it's just
annual, isn't it?
It just stays there for the whole season until it.
Do you understand? So again, it's just kind of like getting that balance between growing food, obviously that's going to be a pleasure to grow, you're going to eat it yourself and you're going to share it with others, etc. And actually growing things for production that's going to be able to help you to sustain what because if it's only taken in, you're not going to be able to sustain it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And I think that's an important factor to really consider, because we jump into these things and it's really lovely. But at some point in time, when that well runs dry, do you get what I'm saying? It's like pressure comes on, and you really we want to be looking at ways where we can be kind of like inventive, and this is whole sustainability really.
I get what you mean. Would you grow it vertically next time?
Yeah, hopefully, because we did put these in for that reason. Yeah. But when we run the string line, it just wasn't strong enough. So we needed, and then the bamboos came in a little bit late. But yeah, definitely, I'd run it vertical, and then you can get complete access to the plant. Yeah. Whether you're going to be giving it a nice little organic spray, or whatever the case may be. We need to find some kind of solution once we get into winter, because you see all of this. This is again the pure problems for us. We put all these willows here, and these are just from little cuttings like that, and they just shoot up so fast. Put these in last year, about down to there. They grew up to about here. Then we cut them all down to there and used the cuttings elsewhere. Right. And then they've come back up like that. Wow. Just over a matter of months.
This is to create like a privacy wall.
Yeah. Okay. That's the idea. So we wanted to have, I can't remember these kind of conifers, but the only thing with these, I think these are leylanders, and they're susceptible to disease in the UK.
Mine died as well. I don't know if it's the heat or.
Yeah, it's hard to grow them, but so it was good. The idea was to have the leylanders come up, and in the meantime have this kind of back wall with the willows. And then hopefully the leylanders. But I don't know what we're going to do. We'll have to maybe try a different a different breed. Once this spreads out a little bit more, it will become a bit more effective. But it's to really tackle these thistles really, because when they start, when all those seeds blow, it's coming straight in our farm. You know what I mean? So as you deal with, you understand?
Oh, that's a big. What is that?
It's a courgette. Whoa.
So slightly overgrown, you know, but still very juicy. But
wait, how big is this compared to my head or your head?
Or her head.
Yeah, it's just that big, right?
Whoa.
Wrap it in grease paper.
Yeah.
Put some oil over it in the grease paper. Close it up, and then maybe wrap it with foil and put it in the oven. Beautiful. Roast it.
Oh,
nice. And then you cut it up, chop it up, put beans with it.
Yeah.
Have it like a bean salad.
Wow.
Delicious.
Yep.
Really nice.
Oh, the celery.
The celery.
Yeah, what happened with the celery when we transplanted it? Again, this is one of the reasons why I'd say, you know, when you're getting into this, obviously sometimes you can't help but do it that way, but when you're getting into it, it's always strive to get your infrastructure in first, because when you're trying to do both of them at the same time, it doesn't really work. Honestly, just so we've done that this year, and it's just so we put our plugs in, but there was like 2 or 3 roots there. So the plan was to, you know, split them up and transplant them, but it didn't come about. So where you've got like 3 different roots or whatever in here, they're competing. So I need to split them up, which is what I've done on these now. So I've only got 1 in here, and it took like maybe about a week and a half for them to get like there up to here. And I mean, they're a lot nicer than what these ones are. And see how these are just stringy?
Oh yes.
Yeah?
It's not thick.
Yeah, exactly. And these ones will be really, really stringy compared to these. You can smell that, isn't it?
It's smell it from here.
It's delicious.
Wow. When are you open?
Right, so kind of a little bit nervous on that one, I suppose. We tend to go and we harvest on Wednesdays and deliver on Thursdays. We deliver into London and the home counties. So the home counties being like Buckinghamshire, Northamptonshire, Hertfordshire. Definitely, you know, for those that's got our number and call us and say, listen, you know, can we come down? And 100%, you know, we're definitely open in that perspective.
You're open to the brethren though?
We're definitely open to the brethren, you know, definitely open to the brethren. In terms of, like, we want to interact with the local community. We want to be like an asset to the community, you know? And so we kind of like want to get that right. Although, that being said, we're always getting people stopped by that live locally in the villages. We've got about maybe 6 villages in our immediate vicinity.
So any advice for other SEO folks looking to do the same thing?
Yeah. I mean, okay, from our own experience, there's a few things really that comes to my mind now. One of there's a kind of like a danger, like if someone goes and gets some land, be it half an acre, be it an acre, you might have experienced this yourself, right? And you've got this land in front of you, and you just think, I've got to plant it all, not a piece, not just a little square, and get myself kind of like familiar with the ground. You just think to yourself, like, I'm going to plant this and I'm going to plant that, and you know, you can kind of get carried away with it a little bit, and it can become overwhelming. Then you end up becoming discouraged, and you think to yourself, man, what have I gone and started off? So for those that are starting off, start off small and just kind of learn your craft and get familiar with it, and before you know it, you'll definitely be opening up more ground. You know, because it does take a level of work. It does take a level of commitment. I would definitely encourage people to get involved, but don't overbite. No, don't take too much of a chunk out of the apple to begin with.
Don't bite more than you can chew.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if you can, put in your infrastructure, you know, first. Get your water system set up. Let's say you're talking about growing on an area that might be, I don't know, 50 foot by 50 foot. It might not be so bad, but if you are talking about doing something where you can actually leave the rat race, the 9 to 5, and start to get into something where, you know, you're building up a more self-supportive lifestyle, you want to put in your infrastructure. You want to be able to have a place where the bottleneck meets, when everything kind of meets, and the pressure is in terms of the you're washing your vegetables and you're preparing your vegetables for market. You want to get that right. So you want to get your water right, you want to get your packing station right, before you really start to do these things. And I think that's probably across the board. When you listen to a lot of people that's in a market garden, they all tell that sort of similar story, that if they could do it again, they would have those things in place first.
Right.
The other thing I would say, which is me and Jackie are still struggling to kind of find, is working out that work-life balance.
Yeah.
So because you're dealing with food, you're dealing with living things, you know, that are demanding, you can't necessarily take off loads of time, but you've got to resist the temptation to be here from like 7 in the morning till 10 at night. Yeah. It don't work out, you know? Yeah, it don't work out. You do need to take time out. Yeah. You know, you need to take time out and time to rest, reflect and recuperate. That's important because, you know, that's just as important as actually putting the beds in place. Yeah. You know, that period of rest. And I think those would be the main things that I'd encourage anyone with. Temperance in all things. Yeah. Getting the infrastructure right and not biting too much of that apple to begin with.
Advent Farms are very much open to having some extra pair of hands to help during the growing season. If you would like to get in touch with Earl or Jackie at Advent Farms, please see their website linked below this video. Advent Farms thanks you for your support. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Take care and God bless.